Hello there, very good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News. I'm Tracy Shilchi and here are the headlines. Parliament stares at a complete washout as the demonetisation debate remains at a standstill. Last day of the winter session, opposition to meet President over the issue and Congress to meet Prime Minister seeking loan waivers for farmers. Mega prizes await buyers and sellers in government's big cashless push. National Institute for Transforming India, Ayog, announces reward schemes from 1,000 to 1 crore rupees. Over 3,000 people evacuated from rebel-held areas in Aleppo and being taken to Idlib. UN envoy to Syria predicts it could be the next Aleppo if the political solution is not found to civil war. And India take on Australia in the semi-finals of the Men's Junior Hockey World Cup in Lucknow today after beating Spain 2-1 in the quarterfinals. Today is the last day of the winter session of Parliament and the issue of demonetisation has disrupted Parliament proceedings throughout this session, leading to a near washout. Opposition parties led by the Congress, in fact, will be meeting President Pranab Mukherjee today to apprise him of problems caused by demonetisation. The meeting is slated for 12:30 p.m. this afternoon. Opposition leaders will also raise the issue of them not being allowed to speak in Parliament. The decision to meet the President was taken at the meeting of opposition leaders held in the Chamber of Leader Opposition in Rajya Sabha. The leaders said that they were elected representatives of the country and had every right to speak in Parliament, and it was unconstitutional to not allow them to speak in both the houses. Opposition leaders have been meeting every morning to decide on a united strategy in Parliament during the winter session, which has been a virtual washout. Representatives of Congress, Trinamool Congress, BSP, SP, JDU, CPI, the CPIM, NCP, DMK and the All India United Democratic Front or the AIUDF were present in Thursday's meeting. And top Congress leaders led by a leader of opposition in Rajya Sabha, Ghulam Nabi Azad, will also be meeting the Prime Minister and demand a loan waiver for distressed farmers in the country. The three main demands on the table are loan waiver for farmers, reducing their power bills by half and helping them get remunerative minimum support price for their produce. The Congress has collected over 2 crore Kisan Mang Patras from across poll-bound Uttar Pradesh and over 34 lakh such letters from Punjab, which also goes to polls early next year. Azad will be accompanied by Punjab Chief Minister Captain Amrinder Singh and Punjab Congress Chief Captain Amrinder Singh and Uttar Pradesh PCC Chief Raj Babbar, besides other senior party leaders. And opposition parties had raised similar demands in Rajya Sabha on Thursday too, while the BJP, of course, continued to accuse the Congress of corruption. No business could be transacted through the day as the House witnessed several adjournments.
Allegations and counter-allegations marked proceedings on the penultimate day of the winter session of Parliament. The upper house saw angry exchanges between the Treasury and the opposition benches as soon after the House conducted formal business. BJP members moved to the aisles and levelled allegations of corruption against the Congress. Meanwhile, the opposition led by the Congress demanded farm loan waiver for farmers hit by weather vagaries and demonetisation. Leader of the House Ghulam Nabi Azad also slammed the BJP members for disrupting proceedings of the House.
This is first time in the history of India after independence that it is the ruling parties which does not allow the House to function and which disturbs the proceedings of the House.
Launching a counter-offensive, the government refuted Azad's claims while accusing the Congress of corruption.
कि करप्शन के कुएं से कांग्रेस का एक और कंकाल निकला है, तो उस कंकाल का डीएनए क्या है? कंकाल का डीएनए करप्शन है, कंकाल का डीएनए भ्रष्टाचार है, कंकाल का डीएनए जो है वो जनधन की लूट है, तो उस पे हम लोग चर्चा चाहते हैं और हर दिन ये बात सामने आ रही है.
The sparring affected 0 hour and question hour. Even in the post-lunch session, the war of words continued.
किसानों की हालत बहुत खराब है. नोटबंदी से और हालत खराब हुई. हम चाहते थे कि प्रधानमंत्री किसानों का कर्जा माफी की घोषणा करें. इससे पूरे देश के किसानों को लाभ मिलेगा।
किसान मर रहा है, उसका अनाज सड़ रहा है, उसको नया बोने के लिए पैसा नहीं है। इनसे कहिए कि किसानों का कर्जा माफ करें, वो आत्महत्या करने पे मजबूर हो रहा है। इसलिए 3.5 करोड़ उसका खेत में सड़ गया, बाजार में मेरे को समझ में आया।
With little signs of reconciliation, the chair adjourned the House till Friday.
The House stands adjourned till 11 a.m. on Friday, 16th December.
With inputs from Vishal Daya, Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And on the 18th day of the winter session, Lok Sabha 2 was disrupted due to opposition uproar on demonetization. Repeated disruptions forced the Speaker to adjourn the House.
We could have initiated the debate.
In Lok Sabha, soon after question hour began, opposition members demanded a discussion on demonetization. Several opposition members, including those of the Congress, TMC and left parties, had given notice for adjournment on the issue. These were rejected by the Speaker. This resulted in an opposition uproar in the lower house. Question hour could not be taken up, terming the opposition's attitude disappointing. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Anand Kumar said the government had always been prepared to discuss the issue.
काले धन के खिलाफ जो नरेंद्र भाई मोदी सरकार ने संघर्ष शुरू किया है, मुहिम शुरू किया है, उसके बारे में चर्चा करने के लिए, बहस करने के लिए हम तैयार थे, तैयार हैं, तैयार रहेंगे। लेकिन ये लोग 20 दिन से उसको रोक के रखा है।
During 0 hour, Congress leader Mallikarjun Kharge spoke about the problems being faced by the common man due to the note ban. Congress and TMC both said they were ready for a discussion under any rule. Jitendra Reddy of the TRS said that opposition uproar was preventing him from initiating a discussion.
हम डिस्कशन के लिए तैयार हैं, डिस्कशन होना चाहिए, लोगों को तकलीफ हो गई है, सारे लोग परेशान हैं, डिस्कशन से मोदी साहब भाग रहे हैं, हाउस में नहीं आ रहे हैं, इसीलिए हम ये चाहते हैं, हम ये चाहते हैं डिस्कशन को आप लीजिए।
Without any rule, even without voting, we are prepared to go for the debate and the discussion. Today and tomorrow, 2 days are left. Debate can be continued up to tomorrow.
All parties had an objection about the implementation of this particular thing. That is why my great learned friend, my senior colleague, Mr. Bhartu Mehta had initiated 193, and I also had initiated I was on the second. But we wanted a debate.
Lok Sabha has been disrupted for the last 18 days on the issue of demonetization, severely affecting work in the House. Friday is the last day of the winter session. With inputs from Ravindra Shivran and Pranav Goswami, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, highlighting the actions taken against black money, Economic Affairs Secretary Shaktikant Das on Thursday said that the government is making all efforts to stabilize the cash crunch in the country post-demonetization. He also said that 50% of the currency ban drive has been completed since the 8th November.
The government will soon start easing restrictions on cash withdrawals in a first since the announcement to demonetize 500 and 1,000 rupee notes. The restrictions will come into force once 80% of the new currency is rechannelized through bank deposits. The restrictions on cash withdrawals will be first eased in the case of cooperative banks and then for all scheduled commercial banks. The government also said, as of now, 50% of the deposits in banks are in the new currency, which shows that the money is gradually being remonetized. All restrictions will be withdrawn once the situation stabilizes.
The situation has been constantly improving day by day. Steadily it is improving, and as we went by, the more and more production lines have now been diverted for printing 500 rupee notes, because there is we have enough number of 2000 rupee notes which have already been supplied, and there is enough number of stock which is available. But the printing of 500 rupee notes have now been significantly stepped up, and it is being pushed into it is being sort of supplied to the market.
Speaking on possibility of counterfeiting of new notes, the government said the number of new 500 rupee and 2000 rupee currency notes is very less, and that they are also completely indigenous.
This is the first time that these 500 rupee notes and 2000 rupee notes which you are seeing have been entirely indigenously designed. The security features also have been inbuilt. So to that extent, these notes are much more much more secure, and the possibility or the scope of counterfeiting or imitation or counterfeiting or coming out with fake Indian currency notes, to that extent it is far lower than the kind of scope which existed earlier.
Earlier in the day, the government had said old 500 rupee notes will not be acceptable from midnight tonight, with the government deciding not to extend exemptions beyond December 15th. However, they can still be deposited into banks. Demanding an immediate rollback of demonetization, TMC and CPIM both held protest rallies outside the RBI office in Kolkata.
We are protesting in front of Reserve Bank so that this illegal demonetization, illegal rationing of taking out their own money of the common people is withdrawn.
कालाधन ले आएगा विदेश से, हर आदमी को बैंक अकाउंट में 15 लाख रुपया जमा पड़ेगा। आया था एक पैसा। ये सब चीटिंगबाजी खेल है। आम आदमी का पूरे परेशान हो रहा आम आदमी को। इसके खिलाफ हम लोग।
In a related development, the Delhi High Court has postponed the hearing on the pleas seeking withdrawal of the newly introduced 2000 rupees notes and rollback of demonetization to December 22nd. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The Niti Aayog, meanwhile, on Thursday announced daily, weekly and mega awards for consumers and merchants to encourage a transition to digital payments. The award scheme shall last from 25th of December 2016 to 14th of April 2017. The National Payment Corporation of India will implement these schemes. The government will incur 340 crore rupees for this incentivization program.
Giving a big cashless push, the Niti Aayog announced 2 schemes to reward both consumers and merchants for digital payments. The awards will be offered through the Lucky Grahak Yojana for consumers and the Digi Dhan Vyapari Yojana for merchants. Under the Lucky Grahak Yojana, 15,000 winners will get 1,000 rupees each day, while weekly awards with a maximum prize of 1 lakh rupees will be given to 7,000 people. On April 14th, a mega award of 1 crore rupees will be announced. Under the Digi Dhan Vyapari Yojana, 7,000 winning merchants will receive prizes worth up to 50,000 rupees every week. Awardees will be selected through a random draw of digital transaction IDs. Both schemes will cover small transactions between 50 rupees and 3,000 rupees to encourage every section of the society to move towards digital payments. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
With a quick break here, but more news on demonetization and international news as well on the other side. Stay with us.
CERN is basically a technical hub, I would say, where a lot of innovation happens. There are 3 associate members now. One is Turkey, Pakistan, India. Being associate member, it opens a bigger window for India to contribute as well as take the knowledge.
Watch Eureka with Dr. Praful Kumar Behra, Associate Professor, IIT Madras on Rajya Sabha Television.
The sacred relics of Buddha were unearthed in Piprava in Uttar Pradesh. Buddhist monks from all over the world visit the National Museum to pay their respects. These charred bone fragments of Buddha are housed in the gold canopy gifted by the royal family of Thailand.
Welcome back. In more national news now, the Supreme Court has questioned the centre on Thursday on the way it has handled the aftermath of demonetization. The Apex Court asked why there was unequal distribution of new currency notes among people. The 3-member bench, headed by Chief Justice T.S. Thakur, asked the centre to adhere to its notification allowing the withdrawal of 24,000 rupees per week after senior Supreme Court lawyer Kapil Sibal argued that people are facing difficulties as they did not get money as mandated by the centre. In fact, the court was also of the view that the scrapped currency notes should be accepted in government hospitals so that people could avail medical facilities. CJI Thakur also raised concerns on how some people were able to stash lakhs of rupees in the new currency given the current situation, and asked the government about its policy on supplying new notes to different bank branches. In fact, drawing attention to the people's problems, the bench also indicated that it may pass an interim order to reduce their inconvenience. Now, all exemptions for the use of the old 500 and 1000 rupee notes are no longer accepted except when deposited in your bank accounts. In fact, the RBI on Thursday also imposed certain restrictions on withdrawal if more than 2 lakh rupees had been deposited after the 9th of November in an account which has a balance of over 5 lakh rupees. This has been done to tighten the noose around those who misused banking channels to park unaccounted money. Withdrawal or transfer of funds will not be permitted in accounts without quoting their PAN number or submission of Form 60. The RBI also said that monthly withdrawal limit of 10,000 rupees will be maintained even if a small amount has witnessed increase in annual permissible deposit of 1 lakh rupees. Meanwhile, private sector lender Axis Bank has said it has so far suspended 50 accounts and 24 employees for suspicious activities. The bank said that investigators acted on a tip-off provided by the bank itself. The bank, however, admitted that the adverse publicity was affecting its brand but hoped this was temporary. And in a major haul, police seized 10.10 crore rupees after intercepting a vehicle in eastern Mumbai and detained 3 persons. The seizure included 10 crore rupees in scrap denomination and 10 lakh rupees in the new currency. Police found the notes stuffed in 2 gunny bags after they flagged down the car on Thursday evening. Now, the government's digital financial literacy campaign is getting a good response, according to Union HRD Minister Prakash Javadekar. The Vittiya Saksharta Abhiyan was launched last week through the country and has already got 1 lakh volunteers from various colleges. The campaign is the biggest voluntary effort in digital financial transactions. The scheme was launched under which heads of education institutions have been advised to give students credits for taking forward the centre's financial literacy campaign for a cashless economy.
भारत में सभी कॉलेजेस और यूनिवर्सिटीज में हम वित्तीय साक्षरता अभियान का प्रारंभ कर रहे हैं। किसी भी देश के लिए ये वित्तीय साक्षरता डिजिटल फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी कैंपेन ये जरूरी है और इसमें युवा बड़े संख्या में शामिल हो रहे हैं खुद होकर, और आज 1 लाख संख्या हो गई है जिन्होंने खुद को वॉलंटियर किया है इस अभियान में। मैं उन सबका स्वागत करता हूं और मुझे विश्वास है कि यह संख्या 25 लाख तक बढ़ेगी।
Well, if only the opposition would buy it, because West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee met RBI Governor Urjit Patel to express concern over logistical issues in the demonetization process. The Trinamool chief also handed a letter to Patel in which she mentioned political discrimination among states and said that the RBI was an institute that should not be used politically. In the letter, Banerjee also wrote that the whole country is going through unprecedented misery and suffering due to the cruel misadventure of demonetization, as the unorganized sector, which provides jobs to 5 crore workers, has collapsed.
We informed everything, what is going on throughout the country. The hardship of the people, that we expressed our views that unorganized sector, the farm, the agricultural sector, the small shopkeepers, the traders, even the tea garden workers and jute industry workers, even from small industry to big industry, and unorganized sector also, even from big industry to IT industry also. More than 5 crores have become jobless now, and the people are really, they are starving for death and they are dying. So before they have demonetized all this, there should have been some planning, something. No plan was there, resulting in which the notes are not available, ATMs are not working in proper manner.
And now let's take a look at what else is making news across the country in Nationwide. Supreme Court and High Court judges may soon get a fatter pay packet, as the government is likely to bring in a bill in this regard in the next session of Parliament. PTI is quoting sources as saying that the issue is under active consideration, and a bill to amend the High Court and Supreme Court judges' Salaries and Conditions of Service Amendment Act may come up in the budget session of Parliament, which may begin in the first week of February next year. Industrialist Nusli Wadia has filed a defamation suit against Tata Sons in the Bombay High Court. The suit is seeking damages for harming his reputation while proposing to remove him as an independent director of 3 of Tata Group companies. Wadia has sought crores of rupees in damages, but its quantum is not known immediately. Founder of Sulabh International, Bindeshwar Pathak, has been nominated as a member of the Central Authority of National Legal Services Authority, or NALSA. He was nominated as the member along with the Chief Justice of Jharkhand High Court by the Ministry of Law and Justice. Pathak has pioneered in providing low-cost sanitation in the country through his Sulabh movement and was recently appointed Brand Ambassador of the Swachh Rail Mission. DMK President M. Karunanidhi has been admitted to a private hospital in Chennai late last night for treatment of cold and indigestion. The 93-year-old former Chief Minister was admitted to Kaveri Hospital. His admission in the same hospital comes about a week after he was discharged from there after undergoing treatment for drug-induced allergy. International news now, and the top story: an operation to evacuate thousands of civilians and fighters from the last rebel bastion in Aleppo is currently underway. The development comes as part of a ceasefire deal that would end years of fighting for the city and mark a major victory for Syrian President Bashar al-Assad.
A convoy of ambulances followed by a long line of green buses drove out of the devastated rebel-held area of Aleppo. More than 3,000 people have been evacuated so far, allowing Syria's regime to take full control of the city after years of fighting. The sick and injured arrived in the city's western countryside on Thursday. The full evacuation may take several days.
نحن موجودين الآن في خان عسل المنطقة بين النظام والمعارضة موجودين هنا لاستلام حلبيين بعد الاتفاق.
The UN envoy for Syria said that the people are likely to be evacuated to the rebel stronghold of Idlib, predicting it could be the next Aleppo if no political solution is found to the civil war.
Va passer à Idlib. Mais je regrette de vous dire, nous ne savons pas, mais si on a vu ce qui s'est passé à Alep, et s'il n'y a pas un accord sur le cessez-feu, et s'il n'y a pas une discussion politique, Idlib devient la prochaine Alep.
As many as 100 United Nations employees walked off their jobs temporarily on Thursday, protesting the bloody violence in Aleppo.
We, the staff of the United Nations, wish to express our deep concern and outrage over the suffering of the people of Syria. We therefore stand in solidarity with the civilians, and particularly the mothers, the fathers, the kids, the children who are suffering from abuses, indignity and destruction caused by ongoing violations of international norms. We stand united in solidarity with the people of Syria. We call upon the member states of the United Nations, in particular the Security Council, to take urgent practical action to end the horror in Syria.
The rebel withdrawal began after Syrian forces launched a new offensive to recapture Aleppo, handing the regime its biggest victory in more than 5 years of civil war. President Bashar al-Assad hailed the liberation of Aleppo and said history was being made.
على سيدنا رسول الله وبعد نزول الوحي. التاريخ ليس نفسه قبل وبعد. نقول الوضع السياسي قبل سقوط الاتحاد السوفيتي وبعده بين الحربين العالميتين وهكذا.
The evacuation for civilians was originally supposed to take place on Wednesday but fell apart following artillery exchanges and resumed airstrikes. The agreement was revived after fresh talks between Syrian regime ally Moscow and opposition supporter Ankara. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And here's a look at some more international news updates in World Wrap. European leaders agreed on Thursday to extend sanctions against Russia for another 6 months and also struck a deal with the Netherlands over a cooperation pact involving Ukraine. The bloc's 28 leaders meeting at a summit in Brussels agreed that the sanctions, which were imposed in 2014 over Moscow's role in eastern Ukraine, remain in force until at least the end of June 2017. Meanwhile, the EU leaders also agreed to Dutch demands that the bloc's landmark association agreement with Ukraine will not entail the future EU membership of Kiev. Incoming UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has announced the appointment of Nigeria's Environment Minister Amina Mohammed to be the UN's Deputy Secretary-General. Senior Brazilian Foreign Ministry official Maria Luisa Ribeiro Vieira will serve as Guterres' Chief of Staff, while Kyung-Hwa Kang of South Korea was appointed to be the new Special Advisor on Policy. Guterres has made gender parity a priority of his tenure, which begins from the 1st of January. British Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson summoned the Russian and Iranian ambassadors to convey his concern over their countries' role in Aleppo in Syria. Johnson said in a statement in London that both Russia and Iran have failed to uphold their obligations under international humanitarian law. He said both countries need to ensure the UN now oversees the evacuation process and that all civilians and non-combatants are properly protected. Facebook has announced new features to help combat fabricated news stories on the world's largest social network. New reporting features are being rolled out along with other changes designed to combat the spread of misinformation. Facebook was widely criticized last month after some users complained that fake news had influenced the US presidential elections. The new features include the ability to flag fake stories as well as possible future changes to Facebook's algorithm. All right, on to sports news now. In Olympic silver medalist PV Sindhu lost her second Group B match against China's Sun Yu at the BWF World Super Series final in Dubai on Thursday. Sindhu found the going tough against her Chinese opponent and lost 21-15, 21-17 in straight games. The loss has jeopardized Sindhu's chances of qualification for the semi-finals. She had beaten Akane Yamaguchi of Japan in the opener and now after this loss faces a huge task of overcoming reigning world and Olympic champion Carolina Marin of Spain. She must win the third game though when she meets Marin in the third and final round-robin match on Saturday. Marin, remember, had defeated Sindhu in the Rio Games title showdown. In hockey, India will take on Australia in the semi-finals of the Men's Junior World Cup in Lucknow today. The Indian The Indian Colts advanced to the semi-finals last evening after beating Spain 2-1, while in the quarter-finals Australia defeated the Netherlands 2-1 to reach the last four stage. The home side has been in a terrific form as they remain unbeaten from the group stage. India last won the trophy in 2001. Belgium will face Germany in the other semi-final match to be played later today. Very quickly, let me also tell you about cricket. India will look to register a new record unbeaten streak as they face England in the fifth and final test in Chennai today. If India wins the final test, it will be their biggest victory against England, the previous being the 3-0 whitewash in 1992-93 under Mohammad Azharuddin's captaincy. Skipper Virat Kohli, who is among 5 batsmen including Don Bradman and Ricky Ponting to amass 3 double centuries in a single year, is 135 short of bettering Sunil Gavaskar's record of most runs by an Indian in a single series. Gavaskar collected 774 runs in a single series against the West Indies. Meanwhile, off-spinner R. Ashwin with 247 wickets is on the verge of becoming the fastest to reach 250 scalps in tests ahead of Australian pace legend Dennis Lillee, who got there in 48. Ashwin already has 27 wickets in the series, way ahead of Adil Rashid of England, who has 22. And that's it on the Breakfast News. Thanks for joining us.